Somebody's gonna start beeping.
Yeah.
Do I go?
Go.
Holy cow. Not used to all this city driving.
Sightseeing tour, Philadelphia sightseeing, 13 minutes. We just stay right on this, I guess.
Keep watching that.
Oh yeah, we're on South 5th Street, so it's up here. 12 minutes. Okay, it's red. Fried rice, sweet and sour.
I want to eat in a little place like that. Look at that.
Chinese and American food.
If that was open, I'd eat there right now.
They might not. It doesn't even look like they're open.
Well, they'll open.
That's so funny. Well, they'll open. Wait, these are really loose, like they're gonna fall apart.
Yeah. Wow, you can barely fit down the street.
That's what I said. What do they do in the winter? When it's all snowy and...
They probably don't have as much snow down here.
The Chinese lady over there. She probably owns that Chinese restaurant.
Is that a stop sign? Yeah.
Yeah.
Smashed up one. There's a park.
We're not stopping. Oh, look at all the trash down there.
This is some real city here. This ain't like Cleveland.
No. You know this is a double-decker bus, right?
I love double deckers.
So we can sit on top. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
Keep watching that map.
I am watching. You just stay right on this.
Oh, looks like construction up there.
Yeah, how do we get around it?
Detour.
Man.
Right in the middle of the road. Look at
One
it.
way. We gotta go that way. Go left. Go left. Go.
Oh.
Go this way and then maybe go around.
It's got us going around back to that same road. We can't go that way.
600 feet, turn right onto South 7th Street.
Yeah. South 7th. This is 6th. It'll get us there.
Oh, there's some homeless at that park over there. Do I go?
Yes. All the cars behind us are going to be mad.
Oh, well.
Because everybody's got to go the same
Turn right
way.
onto South 7th Street.
Yeah, turn right.
There's a little restaurant.
What the hell is that? Beliadas Montecasas? What the hell is that?
Oh.
Go.
Look at this. Good thing we got a little car.
Boy, I'll say.
Continue on South 7th Street for 1 mile.
Angler Market.
Certain ethnic food.
Where's it want us to go? East.
You should just.
Young Avenue.
You should just hold that thing.
1 mile. Okay.
I don't want to mess up right now. This is some nutty city.
Beauty salon.
Look at all that
It
trash.
stinks around here.
Look at all that trash.
Go. It shows every friggin' stop sign on this, too. Oh, man, it smells over here. Roll it up. Oh, my God, he puts it down more.
It's not going to stop the air. Yeah, this city is a lot compared to Cleveland. It's jam-packed.
Let's see.
Every street's like this.
I'm curious to know what rent is.
It's not that cheap. I looked at like hotels or Airbnb out here. It's not as that cheap. You should come back here when we have more time. Look, there's a Chinese restaurant.
Another one. J&J Supermarket.
Go straight.
Yep. You're gonna turn right, like a slight right on East Young Avenue.
Oh.
Oh, fixing that up. That looks new.
It's gonna be $25 to park.
Well,
That's what happens when you come to big city.
for sure.
Take a ticket.
Holy cow, they barely give you enough.
Good thing we got a little car.
Push for ticket.
Push for ticket.
Got it.
Oh my God.
Oh, they're parked every which way in here.
I know.
This is, oh,
Can we fit in there? No, it's
no, I
too,
don't think so.
too narrow.
If they would have been more apart.
Dang it. Oh, this place is freaking full. Narrow as heck, too.
I feel like we're back in. Oh, what's this? Oh, Daytona.
Yeah.
That parking garage was.
Looks like we're gonna have to park on the top floor. We're at the top. Couple places up here left. That's it. Yeah. Top floor of the parking building. Gotta take the elevator down. Oh, you got the ticket?
Trimming, but you know, you better watch your heads. So Pennsylvania, founded by William Penn, a converted Quaker, opened up the settlement in 1682, the city of Philadelphia included. William Penn brought about 1,000 people over the first year, or he had about 1,000 people come over the first year. He only went home one time during that year to bring people over here to Philadelphia. On the right-hand side, the Statute of Religious Liberty, part of the first World's Fair in the United States. That took place in 1876, right here in Philadelphia, when we were also celebrating the huge centennial. And this statue wasn't always here, but they moved it over here, figuring a lot more people will get to see it over here in the park. And And if you were lucky enough to be around in 1876 for the World's Fair, you might have used a telephone for the first time or a typewriter. They were charging you 50 cents a piece to do that. That was a lot of money. You would have been able to see the torch of the Statue of Liberty. You might have had your first banana. They were heating them up. They were serving them heated up in tin foil. You might not have had a second banana. Now, I like to be truthful and tell people facts on the tour, but I made this up. But I'm thinking I'm right. It's probably the next generation that made bananas popular in America, not the people that had the heated up bananas. On the right-hand side, the congregation Mikveh Israel. Our first Jewish congregation here in Philadelphia was founded in 1740. Not that building, though. That's a community center built in the 1970s.
That's an old
And this is
cemetery.
Christ Church Burial Ground. If you take the whole tour, you'll see Christ Church at the end of the tour, about 3.5 blocks from here. It became very crowded very quickly. By the time they were building the church in the 1730s, they were lucky to find this huge space as close as they did, 3.5 blocks from the church. After the Revolution, Philadelphia was the first mint in the United States, and in 1969, when we opened this building, we became, and still are, the largest mint in the world. My first question of the day: who designed the first coin of the United States? Anybody? Remember, you're in Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia. There's one answer to everything, folks. Benjamin Franklin, exactly. He designed the first coin of the U.S. The bridge opened up in 1926. They tried to call it the Delaware River Bridge just because it goes over the Delaware River. They changed the name in the 1950s. I mean, here's the bridge is coming down right here. This is his neighborhood. He lived right around the corner on Market Street. I wish we could go across the bridge on the bus. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. 1.7 miles from one end of the bridge to the other, just in case you want to take a walk. I like riding my bike over it. Not something I do that often anymore. I'm not as young as I used to be. It does take a lot of energy. And when you get to the other side, you are in New Jersey, but you're not anywhere but on a highway. So either you got to go further or come right back. When we go through the light to the right-hand side, there'll be a church at St. Augustine's where the University of Villanova was founded, if you're familiar with that school. An old German Reformed church across the street on the right-hand side. And then back to Ben. I haven't talked about him for 2 seconds. Benjamin Franklin showed up here in Philadelphia in 1723. He was only 17 years old. He had been apprenticing for his brother in his brother's print shop in Boston. These two brothers did not see eye to eye. Benjamin Franklin wanted his own column. He wanted to write a column. His brother wouldn't let him. So he started writing a column under the pen name Silas Do-Gooder. Well, he was doing pretty good, and for some reason Benjamin Franklin thought after about 9 columns that he should tell his brother the truth. His brother got very mad. Benjamin Franklin quit his job. Good for Philadelphia. He had to find work, and this is where he came. Okay, we're riding down Ray Street. Well, Ray Street's just a nickname. This street was originally Sassafras Street. You can see the old embedded street sign there, or the market across the street. But people used to race horses down the street, and they just got used to referring to it as the Ray Street. Like, did you win any money lately on the Ray Street? We change names all the time. We give things 2 names in the first place. We fix them when they forget to name them after Benjamin Franklin. And the natives of this area are known as the Lenape. They're also known as the Lenni Lenape, the Turtle People, the Wissahickon, the Wingahickon. And after colonial times, they took on the name Delaware, which is not a Native American word, but one of the first governors of Virginia, Delaware. So I don't know if we picked it up from the Lenapes when we settled here in what would become Pennsylvania, or if they picked it up from us, but, you know, we'll call anything by any number of names.
Kind of have to.
Patty's Pub on the right-hand side, a little old building there. That's where they do the bar scenes for Sunny in Philadelphia.
Where?
And although they've painted the metal there and the wood frames, those black bricks are just singed. They're not they're still red bricks. Or red clay, rather. There's a better shot of the Benjamin Franklin Bridge. You can see up top where the path is.
Oh,
and there's
like
a path
that
on each side. You can see someone walking up there. It's a beautiful day.
Oh, look at that walkway up there.
On the left-hand side is an old 19th century firehouse they use for a fireman's hall museum. Okay, another question. Who started the first fire company in the colonies? Benjamin Franklin opened up his fire company in 1749, the Union Fire Company, and encouraged the rest of the cities, villages, towns, and eventually the other colonies to do the same. On the left-hand side, one of the oldest, largest, that's so wrong. Alfred's Alley, the oldest continually inhabited street in the United States. On the street, there's 32 homes, and not one of them more than 16 feet wide.
Wow.
Definitely less expensive to build or
That's
to rent
cool.
a home that size, and there were many, many renters
That's
in
really cool.
Philadelphia.
Look at that.
But
I'd go down there.
it was
for
really
sure.
because people clamored for space. The people mostly renting those
Well, there's your
properties
drink,
could have
miss.
rented a larger space if they were willing to live further away from the Delaware River. Even if you had a business in Philadelphia early in our history, it's not likely you had many employees. You would have been rolling those barrels, bringing up the things from the river yourself, or taking them down. Anyone for the Betsy Ross house, folks? Stop too? Anybody? Nobody's getting off for Betsy. Betsy Ross and her third husband rented a small home on the other side of the trees. The rest of the building belonged to the landlord, and she worked out of this home. There was no courtyard here until 1975, and I don't have to explain any of that. Betsy was married 3 times. Her first husband died early in the Revolution. She remarried quickly. Her second husband, taken prisoner aboard a ship on the Atlantic Ocean, taken to England where he died in jail. Well, there was another American in that jail named John Claypool. He made it out of the jail, came back to America, came and told Betsy this sorrowful news. It wasn't long before she was Mrs. Betsy Claypool. It's a revolution. You got to do what you got to do. You lose husbands like nothing. The Corn Exchange Bank. We had many. Corn Exchange. This was not the only Corn Exchange Bank. I don't know if you guys know it, but corn. You know, there's a lot of money in corn. Yes, there is. And I had a nice ear of corn on the cob last. Benjamin Franklin with one of Philadelphia's murals on the right-hand side. Engine 8 here is considered the descendant fire company of Penn's, although his volunteers met at his home around the corner. It's the right neighborhood, though. There's even a profile of Ben there with a more modern fire helmet. He's definitely a progressive guy. He definitely would have gone along with safety, things becoming more safe. Here, the mall, you know, like the mall in Washington. There's the mall and then there's the hall. If I say Independence Hall, and I mean, just bear with me. I get to say the wrong thing sometimes as far as that. Anyway, this is very much a museum, but they do a lot of educational things, seminars. You see it pop up on C-SPAN if you're desperate enough. Hey, every once in a while, you know, they have.
That's a
you get
prison
to see them
right
shredding
there.
up a bunch of counterfeit and old money that's no good
Narrow
anymore. They'll
windows
give you a
is a
bag of it when
prison.
you leave. A lot of good it'll do you. On the right-hand side is one of Philadelphia's African-American museums. There's 13 bells behind the trees. There's always something behind the trees. But they represent the first 13 states, but they're silent. They have no clappers, symbolizing the sad truth of the fact that when they brought up the issue of slavery during the drafting of the Constitution, that conversation was put down in about a minute and a half. There would be no conversation. But they're very important, and directly from the city, anywhere in the city, any obscure street, it doesn't matter if you're going to use that space publicly or commercially, yeah, like a corner store, you owe 1% of what you already paid for artwork that's free and accessible to the public. That's just my frozen water. You should have been here a month ago. I was carrying around about 55 pounds of frozen waters to get me through the day. We're going to be entering Chinatown. You can see the Four Seasons Dragons of China on the right-hand side, designed so they look like they're going exclusively by men, Chinese men that had been working in the mines and on the railroads in the western part of the United States. Unfortunately, the United States put the Exclusion Act into effect in 1882, not allowing anyone to immigrate from China or Eastern Asia. At this time, and it was not just Philadelphia, this would have been the case almost everywhere, the only place Asian people were allowed to live was in Chinatown. So you can imagine that these men were not encouraged to go out and meet other people. Until 1943, the Exclusion Act stayed into effect. That was a very lonely time for a lot of men that probably would have liked to have a family. Okay, everybody, anyone want to get off at Chinatown? Lots of food, lots of cool shops, a mall a block away? No one, Linda. Look to the right-hand side, though. That's our friendship gate, a gift from our sister city, Zhejiang. No metal hardware, lots of slits, slats, a little bit of gravity. The cords are attached by wooden pegs.
Oh, that's
metal.
nice.
More restaurants. And don't worry, we know we're supposed to get back right now. If you're in Zhejiang, you'd see an accurate copy of the Liberty Bell cracking preluded. In the country, Philadelphia-style ice cream made by Bassett since 1861. And then there's Amish food, and there's Cajun food, and there's Mexican food, and there's rotisserie chicken, and fried chicken, and barbecue chicken, and a place for burgers, a place for crepes. And there is Pearl Seafood. There's a sit-down Southern-style diner, a bar with bar food and beverages, a Jewish deli, an Italian pizza place, turkey sandwiches, turkey with all the fixings. There's Bassett's ice cream, there's bakeries, there's candy stores. There's a candy store that makes their own chocolate. Of course, it's Philadelphia, so even though there's all kinds of work going on, you better keep your eyes open. You never know when the public art's going to pop up. Our mural arts program. Those are the large public art programs. There's been installments here and there that weren't part of those programs, though. So things are looking messy. There's Pearl Seafood, though. They're working on the building, obviously. And the street that goes underneath the building itself, they're making it into just a pedestrian crosswalk. It was a regular street originally. Please sit down so someone's going to see you here. Perspective, meant to be a world within a city. I say that like I know what I'm talking about. Some days I get it, you know, the globe inside the city walls there. Okay, anybody getting off here at the Reading Terminal Market? No? No one's coming down?
I like her too much.
Okay. If you look up on the right-hand side, there's William Penn on top of City Hall. Now, William Penn has a great
I see him. He's up there.
In humility. And
there
he
he
really
is.
how to work at things. He was serious about this, serious about himself. He probably would be a little astonished, but he wasn't around when we built City Hall, so we did what we wanted to do. And what we wanted to do here in Philadelphia is we wanted to put the tallest statue that was... On the right-hand side is the largest rotating hard rock guitar in America on a building that does not need the ornament. This is a beautiful building. We're going to turn the other way, but if you have a good neck, you might turn around and take a look. Across the street, the gray building up top, block on the bottom. Today it's the Lowe's Hotel, but that was originally the Philadelphia Savings Fund Society Bank building. Well, it was that bank company opened up in 1809. This building opened up in 1931. It was the first international-style skyscraper, but not taller than William Penn. William Penn on top of City Hall is about 600 feet. But a very big divergence, like a second French Empire-style pyramid. Except it's the largest solid masonry building in the world, so it's larger than any of the pyramids. It's also the largest municipal building of any kind in the United States. The cornerstones are 22 feet deep. Folks, going around City Hall, there's going to be much more than I can mention. Our Deco building here. So welcome everybody that just got on board. My name's Ruth. Linda's downstairs. Please keep in mind the city of Philadelphia does insist that the passengers remain in their seats. If there's any reason you want to get up, please let me know. I'll be calling out the stops. You got to let me know if you want to get off. After you let me know, I'll tell you when it's time to get up. On the left-hand side, Macy's was originally John Wanamaker's, one of the first department store magnates in the world. He here in Pennsylvania. And this is what tickles me. It took 30 years to build City Hall. You do not get a lot of solid masonry buildings being built even back in 1901. Of course, the original masons were actually stone masons, and they got to watch for 30 years real stone masons do their job.
Look up.
Notice all the air conditioning, folks. Once again, solid stone, no place for vents or ducts. When we go around the corner, it's General John Reynolds from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. George showing Ben his Masonic apron, a gift from Lafayette. The apron's in the temple if you want to take a tour there. This statue is called Government of the People, or by the people. And on the right-hand side, there's one of Indiana's love statues. In front of us, way up top, Philadelphia's two tallest buildings. That thing hanging off the edge is a mechanism that they use to clean the windows. You can see the Benjamin Franklin Parkway is on a diagonal. It is the only diagonal street ever built within William Penn's original grid. Anybody for stop 7, Love Park, City Hall, folks? No. We have people getting off, please. Linda? Okay, I'll give you some hints. You should get this pretty quickly. Coming out of here was the Pennsylvania Railroad, but also the Reading Railroad, the B&O Railroad, and the Short Line. If you're not getting it yet, the Short Line's a nickname for Shoreline. From this part of Philadelphia's Center City, which is what we call the original grid, it's only an hour. Everyone called it the Short Line. This train station, the same trains that are underneath the Reading Terminal Market, which today is called Jefferson Station. Next year it could be something else. But this was built in 1930. They already had the train. Is the northwest corner of the original grid. Philadelphia Museum of Art stands at the head of the Parkway. This is not only not our oldest, but it is most definitely our largest art Museum. Our Holocaust Memorial on the left-hand side. All the museums all the museums on the Parkway were built after the Parkway opened in 1980. This was a great big square park. They made it smaller, made it into a circle when they built the Parkway. You can't see it, but on the left-hand side of the park is the Academy of Natural Sciences, a brick and stone building. Some of the artifacts from the Lewis and Clark expedition are in there. Lewis and Clark spent quite a few months here in Philadelphia, boning up on mathematics for the most part. Across the park is the Franklin Institute, our science museum. Anybody for this stop here? We have the Basilica, the Free Library of Philadelphia, the Academy, Natural Sciences, no one getting off, and the Twin Palaces of Paris. What in the world are they doing here? Well, the one to the left-hand side is being the Free Library of Philadelphia's main branch, or central branch. Our public library system. Okay, who started the first library in the colonies? What was left of a legacy he left to Philadelphia for education for tradespeople. I don't know how they manipulated that, but they used what we had left in the 1920s to help build the building. Home of the first planetarium in the United States. We've added an IMAX theater. There's a human heart so large you can walk through the ball. Wealthy when he and another doctor found a cure for infantile blindness. Spent the rest of his life collecting impressionistic and modern art. And the Philadelphia Art Association acquired the collection. Watch your heads, everybody. About 15 years ago, paying almost $35 billion for the collection, and then they had to build a museum. If you like Renoir, you should have known Dr. Barnes. There's 160 Renoirs in here, and plenty of other artwork. Anyone for the Barnes or the Rodin Museum, folks? Anybody? No one's getting off for I'm here or the Rodin. A small statue that sits on top of the gates of hell. But Rodin liked the statue very much and authorized 5 large-scale casts of it, including the one that sits here in Philadelphia. Of course, there's a million thinker statues that aren't authorized. Once again, the gates of hell are not the gates behind the statue, but the solid bronze doors. This fencing is left over from the event. 7 halls of cells, a block and a half on each side, though, built with fortress walls, meant to be intimidating. But the neighborhood wasn't here. It wasn't personal to the neighborhood. And once again, this solitary confinement prison system was copied all over the place. It did become part of the more modern New York State system in the early 1900s. Wow. The entrances on this side, it's a beautiful day if you want to walk around the building. It's a nice neighborhood, but the entrances on this side, there's a block and a half on all sides. You'll get to see Al Capone's cell in there. Probably the most famous prisoner we've ever had. Watch your step, folks, and thank you very much.
You have to pay to get in.
It wasn't solitary confinement when he was there, but he was living better than everyone else anyway. He had carpets and nice bedclothes and oil paintings, a great big desk, lamps. He had a phonograph. He had food brought in, company brought in. He used to have dinner with the warden. It's possible that Philadelphia's government has not always been 100% on the up and up. I'm not saying anything. We had the Centennial Celebration as well as the World's Fair. The World's Fair took... Right next to Fairmount Park is the Wissahickon Creek Park. You can't drive around that. That's all along the hilly creek. But that's another 1,900 acres of park. There's actually 4,900 acres of park in the direction behind us now. That's Mur, or Muir, I'm not sure. It's M-U-R-R. That's an Armenian folk hero, Joan of Arc. Everyone knows who Joan of Arc is. The Rocky statue is over there by the rocks over there past where those porta potties are. Once again, this is all left over, the fencing, all of that's left over from the Labor Day Festival. The Schuylkill Rivers on the other side of the Art Museum, and ends up in the Delaware River. Sorry, none of the fountains are running. There's 5 fountains on each side of the Art Museum steps, a big one up top, and these
George Washington.
So that was a lot of stone and bronze to move from the other side of the Art Museum and in the park over there.
There's the Rocky Steps.
So when we get back into Center City's definitely where we have the most. But the Art Museum realized people were going down.
There's the Rocky statue right there.
I'm afraid they were losing customers. That's why he's back here. Again, over on the other side of the Art Museum, to the right-hand side is all parkland. In the other direction is Mantua. Philadelphia, we are divided up into wards, but then we have, for more though, they represent the people of Philadelphia. But plenty of room for more. Someone moves here that feels a connection to some place that we don't have yet. We have room for your flag. And it wouldn't have to be your place of origin or your ancestral place of origin. There's a lot of reasons. Maybe your family went somewhere resemble an old-fashioned cell phone with an antenna. I don't know if I would have got that. I like the building now. I mentioned the Four Seasons Hotel was in that building down by the park. Well, they moved literally up to the top 4 floors of the tallest building in the city. And you know what that means? 4 seasons, 4 floors. Anybody? I got a really bad sense of humor. Does that help? Got nothing to do with Benjamin Franklin. It's a 4 for all seasons. Come on, come on. Okay, that's a pretty bad joke. Once again, the Franklin Institute. We like to put highways underground so they're out of our way. That's Miranda. He was down in New Orleans during the Revolution with De Galvez, keeping the British out of New Orleans, by the way. The first stainless steel airplane ever built, and it was built here in Philadelphia by the Budd Company. They named it the Pioneer. Built in the 1930s, and it did fly, but it was never put in production. A Golden Globe with the constellations on the left-hand side, 2 fallen pilots from World War I. Anybody getting off for the Franklin Institution, folks? Anybody? Nobody's getting off. Across the street on the left-hand side, more College of Art. The first College of Art for women in the U.S. as an institution began in 1854. Center City on the east side along the Delaware River. Once they're out of Center City, they're all over the city, the suburbs, the countryside, and the Delaware, New Jersey. And you can grab our commuter trains and go right to the Philadelphia airport. And it's Amtrak that you get nowadays at 30th Street Station. Underneath Market Street is the Market Frankfurt L. Comes underground when it comes in Center City to get out of the way of traffic. Underneath Broad Street is the Broad Street Spire. After a while, once again, Philadelphia, we were never ever going to build anything taller than William Penn, but in 1987 that promise was broken when we built Liberty One here. Without the spire, it would be 750 feet. The top of the spire, another 100 feet, 850 feet. William Penn, once again, is just under 600. 1901 is the Blue Cross Skyscraper, another building considered a skyscraper. After the red brick building on the left-hand side is the Melon Bank building. And the Comcast buildings are 1 block to the left. They're on Arch Street. When we go through the next light to the left-hand side, you'll see a church there. If you walk down Arch Street, it's really cool. This old church, Arch Street Presbyterian, is just right between the 2 very, very modern skyscrapers.
Huge clothespin.
There's the Masonic Temple again over on the left-hand side, but now you see the front and the top of it. And once again, keep your eyes open. Lots of interesting buildings around. And like I said, it's not always the old bank buildings or the classical-looking buildings that are so interesting, at least to me. The other side of that white building on the right-hand side of City Hall looks like the Parthenon, and this was one of Stephen Girard's banks. Stephen Girard died in 1831 as the richest man in the United States, a banker and a shipper, leaving Philadelphia a legacy of a school called Girard College, still running on his dime. Takes kids from 1st grade through 12th grade today. I don't know how the grades went back then, though. On the left-hand side, there's going to be a statue of a 19th century civil rights activist, Octavius Cato. Very sadly, this man was assassinated on Election Day right here in Philadelphia. He had already voted. He was out encouraging other people to vote when he was shot down. He was a major in the Union Army, a professor at Cheney University, not far from here.
Oh.
Now, we've gone back about 100 years as far as the architecture compared to West Market Street where we were there. The building wasn't completed till the spring of 1865, and although Abraham Lincoln was scheduled to be here to inaugurate the building, he had been assassinated. Anybody for stop 19, the Bellevue Stratford Hotel? Anyone for Broad and Walnut? No one's getting off here. See the tower that way, it's through the north side of the building. Broad Street, that was originally 1 mile long, is now 13 miles long. It never turns, never bends. Most of it's on the north side of City Hall. As far as Philadelphia, the part of the city we're not in, we're much larger behind us to the north, and on the right-hand side to the west. That's our job.
Orchestra Hall.
Pennsylvania, of course we complain. We have a dual founding creeds, religious liberty and freedom of speech. And if you're in Philadelphia, it's not necessarily political. We're just going to say what we want to say. used by the University Arts. That was the first school for the deaf in Philadelphia. And the pink condominium is called Symphony House because it has its own symphony hall. That little horn, if you heard it, was the Broad Street subway underneath us. Coffee shop, though, no. The age of those bricks and the woodwork, they're like from two different times and periods, but I just don't know. Just don't know what to say or think how old it is. On the left-hand side, 3 little colonial-aged homes. On the left-hand side, the bookstore opened in 1973. Before 1973, that was not a legal bookstore. This is a very eclectic neighborhood. Lots of college students, lots of people from Jefferson and Pennsylvania Hospital. Jefferson has like 26 buildings, talking about a lot of people. These shops have been antique stores, but there's lots of people to buy things from here. The antique stores closed, for the most part, the antique stores closed in the 1990s. Thing, and that was, they had opium for you to smoke. They wanted you to be passed out during operations, no squirming,
First
screaming, no
hospital
holding
ever.
down. If you didn't want to smoke opium, you could, if you give it a try, you could try to drink yourself under the table with a rum or whiskey. There are people that can do that. But they wanted you to smoke the opium. If you did not want to become inebriated and pass out in some way, they just clock you in the back of the head with a mallet. I'm not kidding. The only problem is if you woke up, they can't hit you again with the mallet. I know, it's one of those things. It's like, although they were here from September 77 into June 78, much longer than they had any reason to be. Very happy that they're occupying the capital of what we called ourselves the United States, of course. But they couldn't do anything from here. It was believed that General Howe, the commander of the British forces, was really just having a good old time partying. As a matter of fact, the British thought that themselves and took him out of his command, sent someone in called General Clinton. Don't read history, whatever you do, because then you're going to have to realize, oh, well, that was the Clinton that was the mayor in New York or governor, and it just gets so confusing. So lots of revolutionary soldiers buried there, but not on this church. At this church, this is the sister church of Christ Church. This is St. Peter's. Christ Church was the first Anglican church of England. Citizens in Philadelphia really did not know what would happen to these properties if we won the revolution. They thought they might still be owned by England. So your soldier member here is likely not to have been buried here if he died. It's also the largest battleship ever built in the United States. This is the great Plaza. We have concerts and movies and festivals. The Walt Whitman Bridge is behind us. Walt Whitman spent the last years in Hampton. That is one of Philadelphia's carousels. Yes, it's a double-decker. Yes, it has all kinds of cool creatures, not just horses. Yes, Philadelphia is super cool, and they'll be open in a few hours. Then the good old Bedford Franklin Bridge, once again 1.7 miles in each direction. You can get to that, though, live at 8th and Market Street, take your cross in a small train, subway size train, but I take the ferry, that's how I go. I don't care about apartments on piers right next to Bedford Franklin Bridge.
That's all apartments
like that,
on that
made a
pier.
park out of it. Like that so much, we put one on the other side as well. The steeple of Christ Church, the tallest building in the colonies in the 1730s, were not put up there, didn't have any competition. All right, there's 95. On the right-hand side is Maine, on the left-hand side is Florida, but we never care, we're here in Philadelphia. On the left-hand side, there is a beautiful statue of a man named Tammany. This was the Lenape chief that our founder, William Penn, made friends and made treaties with, keeping Pennsylvania as a colony very peaceful in our early colonial history. That did not last after these two gentlemen were
I
no
think we
longer
might want to
part
get
of the
off
picture.
here.
Coming down on Market Street, we are right back at Independence National Park. You're as likely to meet people from Philadelphia as you are visitors here. Lots of restaurants, Sonny's and Campo's cheesesteaks, sit-down restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody for this stop at Christ Church? We do have people for 26. Please just wait till we stop and watch your step. And everybody else, please watch your heads. Once again, Christ Church is an American Episcopal church.
I know.
Oh, I think we found a good stop. It's 1947. So this has got to be good. Right there. I say we get something in here. How much is a hoagie? How much is it?
It doesn't even, they're all blacked out.
Oh, whatever it costs, it $12, I think.
cheesesteak hoagie, lettuce, tomato, oregano.
Let's get it. You gonna get a drink? What should I get?
And you went, you gotta give me
Not a problem.
4%.
There you go, you got it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Hi.
We work the most popular. It's a cheesesteak, and we put sweet bell peppers, mushrooms, or grilled onions on it. But nothing's pre-made, so you can have it however you want it.
Oh. That looks good to me.
That's what you want?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll just have the cheesesteak with ready.
Here we go. We got 2 sandwiches and 2 ginger ales for $35. So better be good.
Drum roll.
Yeah. Peel it back.
Oh, look at time.
Oh, it looks good.
Number 40.
Roll it over.
There you go.
Yum. You guys welding the steps up there. Oh, there's this air compressor. No parking. Hey, miss, how much is the ticket going to be?
For this one,
Yeah,
$31.
that's not too bad.
Experiments with electricity. You can see his famous bifocals that he invented. You can also see his favorite invention. It was his musical instrument, the glass harmonica, which was a cross between a piano and a wet finger playing wine glasses. Thing is mirrored from right to left. And Benjamin Franklin, he read in mirror direction for 30 years as a printer. Leonardo da Vinci, he wrote all of his personal notebooks like this as well. And the layman science of it, you actually send blood
That
flow
one
to
was-
you.
We got to figure out who to pay now for our parking so we can get our car out. Maybe it's in here.
No.
That's a hotel.
You think?
That's a hotel. Do you have to pay here? You want to ask that guy? He's right there.
Hi, we're trying to figure out who to pay for our parking at the parking garage around the corner.
No, you're gonna pay.
Over there.
Yeah. When you get in it, you're gonna
Scan.
use this one to open the door,
Okay.
and you're gonna pay in the machine.
Gotcha.
Machine.
Thank you.
Thank you. It takes about a while to walk around this one building.
That's okay. We did hardly any walking today.
Yeah.
We did all our walking yesterday.
We rode the bus all day today.
Yeah.
It's a little grocery.
More hoagies.
More hoagies.
They're right here.
Maybe it's in these doors right here. Maybe it's right here, Jack. Right here.
I think it's got to be where we came out.
This is a cinema right here.
Right here.
Oh, we finally found it.
You gotta. Will you hold your ticket here? Oh, we have to hold it under here. There we go. Now you can open the door.
Resemble an old-fashioned cell phone with an antenna. I don't know if I would have got that. I like the building though. I mentioned the Four Seasons Hotel was in that building down by the park. Well, they moved literally up to the top 4 floors of the tallest building in the city. And you know what that means? 4 seasons, 4 floors, anybody? I got a really bad sense of humor, does that help? Got nothing to do with Benjamin Franklin? It's a 4 for all seasons, come on. Okay, that's a pretty bad joke. Once again, the Franklin Institute. We like to put highways underground so they're out of our way. That's Miranda. He was down in New Orleans during the Revolution with Big Elvis. Keeping the British out of New Orleans, by the way. The first stainless steel airplane ever built. It was built here in Philadelphia by the Bud Company. They named it the Pioneer. Built in the 1930s. It did fly, but it was never put in production. A Golden Globe with constellations on the left-hand side. 2 fallen pilots from World War I. Anybody getting off for the Franklin Institution, folks? Anybody? Nobody's getting off. Across the street on the left-hand side, Moore College of Art, the first college of art for women in the U.S. as an institution began in 1854. In the country, Philadelphia-style ice cream made by Bassett since 1861. And then there's Amish food, and there's Cajun food, and there's Mexican food, and there's rotisserie chicken, and fried chicken, and barbecue chicken, and a place for burgers, a place for crepes. And there is Pearl Seafood. There's a sit-down Southern-style diner, a bar with bar food and beverages, a Jewish deli, an Italian pizza place, turkey sandwiches, turkey with all the fixings. There's Bassett's ice cream. There's bakeries. There's candy stores. There's a candy store that makes their own chocolate. Of course, it's Philadelphia, so even though there's all kinds of work going on, you better keep your eyes open. You never know when the public art's going to pop up.